So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about something extremely interesting that I discovered very recently. And this is something that I call the indoctrination of the school system, the scam of the school system. And I was in a negotiation with a bank, with a major bank in UAE, and I was looking for $10 million to finance a $10 million transaction. And while I was in this meeting with this bank, it was almost like the whole room was shaking because I was so nervous. I had never done something like this. And I was 27 years old. I dropped out of college and I did not have a degree in finance. And I was really nervous that they would ask me about my degree. And just on that basis, they would not give me financing. They would say no to me. And I almost had this vomiting feeling because I felt like I shouldn't be asking them for this amount of money. And there was tremendous amount of resistance that was kicking in. Same thing happened when I was making the cold calls to the business owners to make an offer to buy their business. These are multi-million-dollar companies. I'm a founder of a healthcare investment company, by the way, if you're new to the channel. And my role is to look for companies to purchase, multi-million-dollar companies to purchase. And I was making these phone calls, and whenever they would tell me their revenue, something like $10 million, $15 million, $25 million, I would almost get sick to my stomach because I would not even think that it is possible to hit those numbers and to be able to raise that kind of a capital. And I just had so many beliefs and so much resistance that was kicking in, not to mention a lot of moral dilemma. Is this right? People don't have food to eat, people have health problems, and here I am asking for this kind of money. It's crazy. And I was subconsciously holding myself back, and there was a tremendous amount of resistance, which I did not understand where this came from. And I started to look deeper into my programming, deeper into my psyche. And something interesting happened during this time is that one of the largest banks in the region provided me with the term sheet saying that they would be able to finance 70% of this $10 million deal. And the term sheet arrived. And I had another business partner at the time that I had temporarily collaborated with just for this, to pursue this deal. And I told him, listen, I got something in the mail. You might want to look at it. And he said, sure, share the screen. And he looked at it and he was like, yeah, this is a term sheet. And I was like, really? This is a term sheet? And he was like, yeah, this is the term sheet. And I read, it said the term sheet. And I was like, I don't think this is the term sheet. And he said, Prithvi, do you know what's happening right now? And I was like, what? He said that you just secured a term sheet from a bank, but you don't believe that you have secured a term sheet from a bank. And I was like, I've studied a lot of self-development, so I understand the language he was speaking. And I was like, you were right. I could see this pattern in someone else, but to notice it in myself that I don't believe in something, I was like, this is interesting. The bank is interested to finance a deal like this, but I'm the one who is not able to wrap his head around it because I have limiting beliefs and I have my own insecurities. And I was like, this is extremely weird. If this is true, then if I hadn't been through the training that I went through, I would have never even asked for it. Right now, I asked for it out of nervousness and even being insecure and anxious. But if I didn't have the training, if I didn't even think it was possible, if I did not see the results that I had seen, I would not have had the courage to even make such a request, and I would have never been able to capitalize on this opportunity. I would have never been able to discover that I could do something like this. And where does all of this come from? Because I had this belief, you need to have a degree, you need to have experience, you need to have a track record, and you need to have done something big before you do something like this. Well, that's like saying you need to first learn swimming before you get in the water. That doesn't make any sense. But these are the beliefs that are programmed in the school, in my school, and in my neighborhood. These were common consensus. And whenever there is a larger audience that agrees to one kind of narrative, it tends to feel like it's real when it's not. Consensus or agreement among people, masses of people, when they believe something, it seems like that thing is real, but it's not. Things like you cannot make $10 million at a young age. That's a belief that a lot of people think. But we know that Zuckerberg made $1 billion when he was really young. And that was not possible. So there are these paradigms that we have, these tightly held limiting beliefs that the school system indoctrinated us. And I remember when we were young, they would take us through this process that you have to go through first grade, then second grade, then you will one day be in 12th grade, then you got to go to college, and then you got to go through internship, and then you got to you'll have a low salary, then your salary will increase, and then you have to gain experience, and then you have to meet targets, and then you will make $5,000 after all of this, not before this. Because if you haven't gone through this process, you don't really deserve to make that $5,000. You don't even deserve to ask for it. So keep your mouth shut, keep your ears open, and do what is told. And that is what we are told our whole life. And that's what I was told. That to make even $2,000 coming from India, making $2,000 is a big fucking deal. Wow. And my mother worked 12 hours a day, years and years, and she made that much, $2,000, $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And because of that, because that was my background, because that was my programming, I was in a completely different environment of Dubai. And I was dealing with a different kind of people. And they just didn't have these blocks of paradigm. And they were just talking about these deals like it was nothing. And in my environment, even if I mentioned $10 million, people would start laughing. And then I ended up in a negotiation with a $1 billion company who were facing some problems with the bank, and they had a subsidiary roughly around $120 million that they wanted to spin off. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go to the meeting and I'm going to see what happens. And I'm just going to break these conditionings that I have, and it's just not the case. And even my brother, while I was speaking with him, and he was like, you know what you should do? You should take an internship. You should work for someone for free. And then you should do these things. You shouldn't do it right away. And it's because I was in my 20s, mid-20s, and now I'm in my late 20s. This is the mentality that at this age, you got to be doing internship or making $1,000 or $2,000. And I'm sorry, it's such a mass hypnosis that's going on that you are on it, your friends are on it, your family is on it, your relatives is on it, your friend's family is on it, your girlfriend's family is on it, your girlfriend is on it, your grandfather is on it, your uncle and aunts are on it, and everybody around you and their uncle and aunts are on it. The media is on it, everybody's on it. And just because a lot of people believe something doesn't make it true. A lot of the people believed Earth was flat, and it wasn't the case. So, I mean, So this is a whole process of indoctrination that happened in the school system, where you're made to stand in line. When we went to the school, and they used to say, okay, everybody stand still, now turn right turn, come back, left turn, come back, turn around. And I was like, what the fuck are they doing? And then recently I was reading one of Robert Kiyosaki's book, and he said that they do these marches, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, to program your brain to not think, to not question, and just to obey instructions. They would tell us, finger on your lips and sit down. Prithvi, sit down, sit down, sit down. It was crazy. And you say it enough times, they tell you this enough times, and before you know it, you're listening to everything they're saying, because your mouth is shut, your ears are open, and you're made to sit in one place for 8 to 10 hours. You're put into this one uniform, so you look like everybody, you talk like everybody, you think like everybody, and it's a mass indoctrination into the slave force, into the employment force. And if they can beat your self-esteem enough, and if they can fool you enough for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, and they can reinforce this hypnosis through various channels, mainly school system, and school is regulated by the government. The government decides what the curriculum is going to be of a school. You can't teach anything you want. You have to teach what the government tells the schools to teach. So there is this mass indoctrination that's happening, and one of the mass indoctrination will be around your salary and how much you have to work for that salary. And we are told you have to work all the time, 10, 12 hours to make between $2,000 and $5,000. But that just is not true. People are making a lot more than that, and you can certainly make a lot more than that. At a young age, it doesn't matter, But we have this thing in our psyche, and if you want to really check if this is the case for you or not, let's say you have a goal to make $10,000 or maybe $20,000. How many jobs or roles or career options did you apply for that amount of money every month? And you will find that it's not that you're pursuing the opportunities and you're being rejected. You're not even pursuing the opportunities, because why would you do something or even attempt something that is impossible in your mind? If it's impossible, then it's stupid to ask for it, isn't it? It's stupid to even pursue it, isn't it? You don't try to fly, do you? Because you don't believe it will happen. So why would you go ask for $20,000? It's not possible. Because why? Because you have got to go to Harvard or Cambridge, and then you need experience, and then you need a JP Morgan stamp or a Goldman Sachs stamp, and only then you're entitled. Well, that's a lot of bullshit. That's a whole lot of bullshit that I was fed, you are fed, and there's this just mass hypnosis. And every dollar amount every month, you will have a mass hypnosis around. And this whole thing is coming from the school system. And not only the school system, also there is family, and family's mind is also shaped by the school system. It's all connected. The government, the media, the school system, the family, the religion, all of this is connected. And all of this is used to shape your mind. When we were little in school, there was a story that, you remember those moral stories that they had, little books which had morality around why you shouldn't be greedy, why you shouldn't ask for too much, and anybody who asks for too much gets punished at the end. Those simple moral stories. Well, this is what I did. I went and I started to read all those moral stories now, just to look at what kind of an indoctrination that they are trying on little kids. And there was a story where there was a jar with a lot of candy in it, and the kid tries to take a lot of candy out and he's not able to take his hand out. So his mother comes and he says, drop some candies and take little and your hand will come out. And the moral of the story is, if you take little, then you will be successful. But if you try to take more, you would be unsuccessful. And these are the types of stories that are told to very little kids, including myself, and your mind starts to get wrapped around and your whole operating system of how you operate in the world is shaped at that age. And this is what happens. And this is why you may have some problem imagining yourself in a Ferrari, imagining yourself in a supercar, imagining yourself in a penthouse, or pursuing those opportunities, because you would always come up with an argument that you didn't go to Harvard, that you don't have the degree, you don't have the experience, and you can't do something. And all of this is a function of social conditioning, and you will feel sick to your stomach around those opportunities. You will feel like you don't deserve it, and you will hold yourself back. Another experience that I had was when I was trying to close the CEO of a $3.5 billion company to be my business partner and the chairman of the company that I founded. And he said yes. Within 15 minutes of the meeting, he said yes. He said, I had made up my mind and it's a yes. For many months, I thought that he is going to resign and he is going to change his mind, because I had this mental block that someone like me couldn't do it. Again, because of college, this, that, and we have this hypnosis that we have to be aware of, and it comes from the school system, and that's the video that I wanted to make today. I'll talk to you soon.